everybody, and welcome to Watchdogs Legion. This is a slightly different video to the normal videos I do, or the series I do. We're going to have a bit of a whispered wander. Is someone having a fight over there? We're going to have a lot of English people shouting at us in this video, so brace yourselves. We're going to have a wander around London in Watchdogs Legion. It's raining as well, which is really nice because it shows off the ray tracing and the graphical fidelity of this game really nicely. It's a really good looking game. It definitely needs some really good hardware to bring out the best of it, but I probably don't have the best hardware, but we can at least have the ray tracing on and see how we go from there. But one day I'll get myself a 3080 and we'll really see how this works. So we can have a little wander around some of the sites, obviously staying out of trouble, and I'll give some of my thoughts on the game so far. I'm a fair way through the game at the minute. I'd say probably close to, I want to say maybe like 50% of the way through the game, and I've been really enjoying it so far. I think it's definitely one of those sleeper games where a lot of people are going to miss out on it because of other games which come out around the same time. So, well, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, definitely, but Cyberpunk as well is out pretty soon, and that kind of, I think we're definitely at a point where people are being a bit more careful with their money right now as to how they previously probably have been, which is completely obviously understandable. And Watch Dogs might be one of those ones where people might, because I was definitely thinking about going, you know what, if I had to make a choice, I'll choose Valhalla over Watch Dogs. Money's tight, etc. But I actually picked up the Ubisoft, their subscription service, and I think it might only be available on PC at the minute, but for basically £15 a month, I think it is, you get access to all their games. So with Valhalla and this and Far Cry coming, I was like, that seems like a bargain, because it enables me to actually play those games without having to pay 100 plus. Well, if I wanted all three, it would probably be close to like 150, 180 pounds, and then I can stop the subscription service once I've played through the games, or maybe just carry it on and see how it goes. I'm not a big replayer of games, so it doesn't worry me too much to own video games, etc. But cheers, buddy. I assume they stopped for me. But yeah, it's this is very cool, isn't it? We've got a hypnotist here, a little street performer, I guess. Rude. Can we walk through these? Yeah, we can. It's like virtual chess. Oh dear. So, yeah, that's how I got to Watch Dogs. But what about Watch Dogs Legion? What's it about? Well, if you don't already know, it's set in London, England, and it's set in a not too distant future where, due to terrorist attacks, or supposed terrorist attacks, I'm getting pushed here by this guy, so I'm just going to wander off, or supposed terrorist attacks, London has been kind of locked down by this private security firm, who have kind of taken over, and you as a part of the hacking group DedSec are there to kind of you're there to well, hopefully stop them from, being able to take over London and all that sort of jazz. This is the London Eye as well. It used to be called the Millennium Wheel, but I assume it's maybe kind of shut on this, like you can't get on it and ride it. Maybe you can at some point, but I've actually been on that in real life. It's quite terrifying. It moves very slowly. It does give you some good views, but I had my eyes shut the whole way around, so I wouldn't know. I'm terrified of heights, and I don't know why I went on it, but I did. Anyway, yeah, so you're there to kind of, I guess, liberate London, as it were, and kind of find out the real reasons behind those terrorist attacks, because obviously everything is not as it seems. What makes Watchdogs Legion quite unique is that you don't play one character. The Legion aspect of the title should maybe give that away, but you actually play a team of people, all who have different skills, and you can recruit people to that team. So you start off with one person, and then you recruit people into your team and build up on their skills, and they all have their own personalities, their own traits, and their own skills, and even like their own fighting moves and things. It's pretty cool, actually. I like it a lot. Usually I'm not a massive fan of the whole, and I like to have one character and have that kind of role play, but it's nice to do things differently sometimes, and I think the game does that quite nicely as well. I think we're going to be going through to nighttime fairly soon, which is great, because the game, I think, looks at its best at night, with all the kind of light reflections and things going on. We're now obviously in the city of Westminster, approaching the Houses of Parliament. Of course, this isn't Ubisoft's first foray into London. They did make Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which was set in London, Victorian London, and yeah, it's interesting. I went back into Syndicate and went round, and I was like, it was really interesting to see the differences between the two. Obviously London now is very different, but just the details, I think, in this game far outweigh that of Syndicate, which is a game I really love and I think still looks really good nowadays. But all the little intricate details you have in the world in Watchdogs Legion, I think, is just superb. It really does a great job of bringing the city alive in a way that I don't feel like we've really seen that much. I think it's something that people who just play through the game and don't actually take a moment to look around at things and observe people so much actually miss a little bit, because if you just go and play the game, which I can't blame you if you do that, you're playing the game, but if you do that, you do miss the little side stories and little not even side stories, but I mean like the world and things going on, and it can be quite interesting to kind of watch people go on and about their daily business. In terms of the game itself, I've really been enjoying it. I will say it has taken a backseat to Valhalla, which, from a personal level, I have preferred. But that's just because that's more my jazz. But I played Watch Dogs 1 a bit, and I played Watch Dogs 2 a bit, and they didn't really click with me. But Watch Dogs 3 I've had a lot of fun with. I really like the variety that you can have within the game, especially with the different characters. Usually people, they have a character and they set that character to that playstyle that they like, and then they go and just play through a game like that. So, for example, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, what you do as Ivor is what everybody else does as Ivor. You could totally choose to go through a more stealth route, but ultimately it's pretty similar. What everyone's doing in the game, probably. Now, in Watch Dogs, you can do things really differently. I did a mission the other day where I didn't even enter the building that I needed to get in, and I just hacked my way through the cameras, hacked some turrets, hacked a spider bot, and got the mission done without ever even entering the building, which is cool because another feature of Watchdogs Legion is the permadeath mode, where if you can enable it or disable it to your choice. I've enabled it because I think it's awesome, but your character, if they get killed, and that's it. They're out, basically. I haven't lost one yet, but it does add that extra layer to the game where you're like, okay, I really need to think about what I'm doing here. I can't just go in guns blazing because, well, you can if you have a character who's really good at that, but you still can get overwhelmed pretty quickly, and there isn't really a recognisable health meter or anything like that, so you have to be very, very careful with the way you play the game. Just actually need to check my map to see where I am, because I probably need to start heading off this way. Now we've crossed the river, like over there, so we'll head up here. I think it adds a really nice dimension to the game, where it just adds that extra layer of I don't want to say difficulty, but just what would be the word? More kind of like adding that extra layer of carefulness you have to take on things, and you can't just reload and be like, okay, well, I'll just reload and play that again. I mean, it's totally a choice you make, and you can turn it on and off, but as I said, I think it's the way the game is intended to be played, so let's head up this way actually. So I've played it that way myself. The London area itself is quite interesting, I think, because it doesn't feel very big, but there's a lot going on in it. Obviously, if anyone's ever been to London, there's a lot going on in the city. There's a lot of people around. There's historical buildings at every single turn that you have. What's that big pink thing up here? Let's have a look. And that's that Stormzy. That's hilarious. I haven't met him yet in the game actually, so that'd be interesting when I do. So it does feel like there's lots of interesting little side streets to explore and little historical buildings and stuff going on, and this looks like, this is the Broker Tech headquarters. I've been here for a mission, I think. You can see the ray tracing here coming in, where you've got the real-time reflections. It's so good. I haven't really played a game which has really taken advantage of them like this has. It's interesting, I think, that Assassin's Creed Valhalla doesn't have it, although I've kind of said before that it kind of makes sense because you don't have all these different light sources in Valhalla, and you don't have that many reflective surfaces apart from water. Whereas obviously in a modern day city you have loads. Actually, where am I going? Yes, I do want to head that way, okay. But yeah, in terms of the actual kind of game and the missions and the story, I think it's been really interesting actually. I did a really interesting mission recently, and I won't give you any spoilers in case you haven't picked the game up, but it took me to this particular house, and it was just a really, really interesting mission, and a lot of the storytelling in this game is quite light-hearted. You have Bagley, who is the kind of AI, your kind of like AI companion, if you like, and he's quite dry-witted, and that's kind of cool. But there's a really, but that mission itself, it went really dark, and it was quite interesting, that there is this kind of dark undercurrent to this game, jokes about things, and it can be a little bit, I don't want to say silly, but it can be a little bit kind of, well, if you have a particular operative, you can recruit anyone, as I said, in London, technically, and even like a granny, and you could go around and, take people out with a stun gun as a granny, so it can feel a little bit slapsticky or a little bit silly, but there's quite a serious undertone to the story, which I quite like in a way. It's quite nice. I think they've got a good mix, personally, how that works. Missions generally involve you having to go and hack something, or get into a building, or rescue someone, or do something like that, and as I said, the story does keep me engaged. I wouldn't say it's got the greatest selection of like variety in terms of gameplay, but then again, does Assassin's Creed Valhalla, for example, if that gameplay is really good and you enjoy it, then you do want to kind of keep going with it, I guess. The only kind of thing I would say, and it is unfair to kind of compare it to Valhalla because it's a very different game, but in Valhalla you have thanks, Polly. You do have a sort of situation where you have a reason for going out and doing things, as in you have a settlement, you go back there and you can build it up and stuff, and I feel that's kind of cool, whereas obviously in Watch Dogs you don't have that as much. It might have been nice to have some sort of like upgrade system to your like safe houses, or to unlock different safe houses around the city in a way, a la the kind of Division type thing, can be quite cool, but in other ways it's quite nice to have an open world game where the whole city is actually unlocked as soon as you go in, like as soon as you start the game. Essentially, once you get through the short little intro, you can go anywhere in the city you want, so that's quite nice in some ways, because it can be frustrating sometimes when you're like, oh, I just want to get somewhere. Valhalla itself obviously opens in Norway. I don't think that's a spoiler, and there's a good few hours. I mean, you could spend tens of hours in Norway before you even get to England. So I think it's quite refreshing to just have a game where it's like, okay, this is your open world. You're in it now. Go. It's not a Grand Theft Auto situation where the bridges are blocked off until you do certain missions or anything like that. So it's kind of cool. I like that about it. It feels weird actually to wander through these parks as you do it in Syndicate. They're obviously full of people because it was more a kind of Victorian way of life, but nowadays, well, especially I guess in the evening, a rainy evening as it were, you don't really see people in parks as much anymore. Well, perhaps not people you want to mingle with, shall we say. But yeah, I do feel like it does give a really nice representation of London at night. I lived in London for nearly 10 years, and I used to travel home quite late at night, and because I worked in a cinema and would finish quite late. And the thing which always amazed me about London, and I guess people get this from living in large cities, is that kind of thing where everything is always open. Like, it is a 24-hour city. Lights are always on streets. You have people wandering around street. It's never empty. You think, like, if you walk around your town or village at 3 o'clock in the morning, you'd be surprised probably to see somebody else. Maybe on a Saturday night or something you might, but do you know what I mean? On like a Wednesday night. But you walk down Oxford Street at 3 AM on a Wednesday night and it will be rammed. it's just a funny thing, I guess city living is very different, and in the end it absolutely did my head in. But actually, where are we? Oh, we're quite close to the edge of the map, so we'll get up to here, I guess, and walk across. And yeah, at the end it kind of did my head in a bit, but I do actually, we'll cut. across here. Alright, buddy. there's always lots going on in a city. If you're the sort of person who loves that feeling, then city living is for you. Me, I think as I've got older, I'm a bit more kind of wanting to chill a little bit more, you know. In terms of customization, you can see we have all the shops here. We can go up to them. We can shop. You can earn like ETO in the game, which is the currency or whatever, and you can choose how your character looks. And obviously, there's loads and loads of different customization. It's quite nice in that respect that your person doesn't really like level up in that respect. They generally just you unlock perks for them. I can show you in kind of tech perks which you get these tech points for, but your character doesn't level up at all, you know. So there's no like, oh well, I'm going to use this character because they're level 100 and this character I just got is level 1. It doesn't work like that. They each have their own skills. You know, if you go back to the team, I have some prestige operatives who have some really good skills. I tend not to use those. They came with this version of the game, which is like the highest version, but I try not to use them too much. Although this guy I quite like, so I do use him a bit. But then, other people have different kind of abilities, and you can switch between them as much as you like. If we want to switch to my spy, for example, we just do that, and then I will just load into the spy. Roughly the same area that you were in.
To see how much havoc we can cause
there
today.
we go.
I promise it'll be fun.
Fine, if I get round to it.
Yeah, she actually has an Aston Martin, you can see. But yeah, we were kind of pretty much in the same area, I think. I'm trying to work out where I was. And often you can see the operative that you just switched from to, I don't know where they would be. But I quite like that little thing. It's kind of like tagging you in. So yeah, I think it's for me, I really like the game. I think it's really, really cool. As I said, I think it's something people can sleep on, but and I definitely think it's going to be something people pick up in a sale, because I think Watch Dogs 2 was very much like that, where people picked it up in a sale later on and were like, oh, actually, this is a pretty cool game. I don't like to equate, value to games in terms of, oh, is this game worth $40? Is this worth $60? Is it worth $20 or whatever? Because, like, money is something which is different for every person. For example, if you're quite tight on money, you can afford like one game which you want to last, for a while, then that $60 you've got is going to be worth a lot more than someone who's like, well, I buy a game a month or sometimes two. It's going to mean a lot less to you. So, but I do think that people who pick up Watchdogs Legion, I don't think they'll be disappointed. Same way with like Valhalla, really is I don't think, generally if you like these games and you should have a fair idea of them, then from either watching videos or reviews or anything like that, or just from what you've heard of the first couple of games, then you will have a good idea of how the game works. I will say that you don't need to have played 1 or 2 to play 3. As I said, I've barely played 1 and 2, and the story is self-contained. It doesn't go on from anything. There are obviously little Easter eggs around which you pick up and can go, oh, there's this. There are some characters I think from the other games, but nothing major in any way. This isn't Mass Effect 3 or anything like that, but I do think that, and the same goes, with like Valhalla or anything like that. They are self-contained games, and it kind of rewards you if you have played the series in the sense of, the lore and stuff like that. But you definitely don't have to get a good idea of what's going on. I think ultimately, as I said before, like Watch Dogs Legion will suffer because it's come out at a time that and this is the thing, it was never meant to come out at this time. If you remember, it got delayed. It was supposed to come out at the beginning of this year, and I really think that if everything had gone as planned, no pandemic, it came out in like February, March supposed to, I think, then I really think it would have done really, really well. I don't know how well it's done, to be honest with you, but I don't think it's flopped. But maybe I think it would have done a lot better if it had come out at that time. But obviously, I guess from Ubisoft's point of view, they had to release it because they could have gone, okay, we'll delay it till February next year because they've got Far Cry coming then. So yeah, damned if you do, damned if you don't, really. And they obviously wanted to have Valhalla for this time of the year. This is Trafalgar Square here, as we kind of wander around here. So it's a difficult decision, I guess, for them to make, and I think a lot of publishers are struggling with that. And, you know, a lot of people are obviously the whole Cyberpunk delays, I think, didn't help people as well. People were trying to avoid Cyberpunk, knowing that that is what people are going to be, you know, focused on, and you know, that game's been delayed like 3 times, so it must be pretty frustrating as a game publisher to be like, well, when the hell is this? Just get this game out right now, because I'm fed up with, you know, waiting around for you know, Cyberpunk to release. But there you go. Did somebody just get beaten up? Yeah, they did. So, who's shooting? Oh, those guys, look, there we go. Terror on the streets of London. Yeah, so it's an interesting game for sure. And if you've been to London before, lived in London or anything like that, I do recommend it, because, you know, as you say, like Trafalgar Square's there. I'm heading up to Leicester Square now as well, and it's awesome, you know, to kind of wander around those districts. It's definitely not one for one, like this is, you know, one for one how London is, but it's not bad, I'd say. There's definitely some creative license taken. There's definitely some roads where you're like, this doesn't go this way, but as a general feel to the game, I think they've done a really, really good job of trying to you know, get the general feel and look of London. This is Leicester Square itself. You obviously had the Odeon cinema up there. I used to work in that cinema there, which is cool. There's another one here, that's the Empire Cinema in real life. There's another cinema actually over there called Panton Street, I think, but I don't know if they've actually kind of made that. That's the famous Swiss clock. There used to be, funny enough, I can tell you this now, there used to be a McDonald's there, and it shut down, and was it that McDonald's? Yeah, it was. I think it shut down, and the guy who used to run it actually joined. No, sorry, the guy who used to run another McDonald's close to here joined the company I worked for, and he told me that it shut down because they had a rat problem, interestingly, and that is a huge problem in London. I know it sounds like disgusting, but genuinely it's really difficult to deal with. There are so many of them. It's really, really tough. I remember we used to have like pest control come out every week because you just had so many problems with mice and rats. This is Piccadilly Circus, it's quite famous. Obviously it looks really cool at night, all lit up. You can see all the reflections and things like that in the puddles and things. It looks really nice. I look forward to the future of gaming because we're going to have some just wonderful sights. You know, I'm looking forward to Cyberpunk. I know that's going to look good, but I worry a bit that now my hardware cannot quite keep up on a 2080 Super. I know that's silly, because it's still a really good card, but those 30 series cards really came out and blew it away, so yeah. We'll walk up Regent Street here. love this street. Used to get a bus from here home. It's cool. Very cool. Yeah, I think my bus stop was, I think it was like this one here. I used to walk from Leicester Square to here. Got the bus home. Bus used to take about 45 minutes. Then there was like another 10-15 minute walk from the bus stop, so it used to take me about an hour door to door to get home. And it was only about 5 or 6 miles. I thought you were Bonnie for a second there. You look exactly like her, wearing nearly exactly the same outfit. Yeah, I like all the shops and things like that. The fact you can buy so much different clothing, you can customise your personality you want, and it doesn't matter whether it's the, a certain gear is going to give you this or whatever. It doesn't give you anything extra. I kind of appreciate that. I appreciate that you don't necessarily need to take any of the skills to be able to do missions. They help you out for sure. There's some really good ones, but in reality, you can just get on with it, which is awesome. I think it's quite refreshing to have that kind of, either not be bogged down with these RPG elements, or have the kind of RPG elements which are so light that it feels like it doesn't even matter, so it's nice actually. This is Oxford Street. The guy is either homeless or drunk. Yeah, this is Oxford Street. It should go down there. They've blocked it off. Wait, I'm right, aren't I? I'm pretty sure I'm right. Yeah, they've blocked it off because they haven't got that bit of the map. So yeah, Oxford Street goes up there. We'll head up this way actually because there's quite a lot of lights and things. Oh, that's where the BBC Broadcasting House used to be. The GBB, as they call it in this game. It's actually mostly relocated to Salford now, near Manchester. But I think they still do use this building. But yeah, it's quite famous as well for the BBC. I did a mission there, obviously. Most famous buildings in this game get a mission, so don't feel like you're going to miss out if you haven't been somewhere, because eventually you will go there. I'm pretty sure of that. And now we're in Camden. Used to live not too far from Camden when I did live in London. Just go over there. The driving's kind of cool as well. I think that's something which is a little bit overlooked. I personally love these little scooters. We'll get on one.
Listen to her.
Yeah, you have a mixture of electric cars and petrol cars. Mostly like older looking cars are obviously petrol, and then you have your electric scooters and things. You do get some petrol, like motorbikes and stuff. But I love just kind of buzzing around the city on a little scooter. I think it's really cool. I get a nice stable frame rate now. When it first came out, it was a little bit all over the place. They patched it and it got a little bit worse and then it got much better. Actually, if we actually go to Camden, because I quite like where are we now? That is Camden. This is Camden. Where do I need to go in here? Let's carry on along this street. Camden's got some really interesting places in it. Especially kind of the market and stuff like that. It's really cool. You go there quite early on in the game, and it's really good. I should do like a whole 45-minute video just me buzzing around on a scooter. Apparently they used the developers who made the Driver games to help with the driving of it. And obviously I haven't really spoken much about the hacking and stuff like that and the things you can do. It's quite interesting. You can control cars all sorts of different equipment. Some people have different skills, so I have one who's a getaway driver, and they can actually like come up to a car and you tap LB and the car will just swerve out your way, which is kind of cool. Whoops. For some weird reason I thought I could make that. It has cool music in the game, but obviously I can't play it because I will get copyright striked. So, as I have done in a couple of episodes, I think the last episode was restricted from certain areas because of it, which is really annoying when they do that. I don't mind if you take the money, it's fine. Just don't restrict the videos, it seems so dumb. But that's the world we live in, isn't it, really? There we go, there's the shard up there. You've got the Tate Modern, obviously we've seen the Millennium Wheel light up at night. The shard is like Albion's headquarters, I think. There we go. Okay, I guess we can't get in there. Oh, we probably could actually. Anyway, we're going to finish up there for now, I think. There we go, nice bit of graffiti in the background there. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.